Have you ever wondered why it hurts so much? Why even when everything seems right, there is this constant weight in your chest, this sensation that something is out of place? Maybe you tried everything: meditation, advice from friends, ignoring the pain by pretending to be okay, and yet the suffering remains like a shadow silently following you. Well, I am going to tell you something that perhaps no one dared to say until now. Most of your suffering does not come from the outside world. It comes from within, from what you refuse to see, from the part of you that you abandoned. Machiavelli, one of the greatest names in psychology, said, "What you do not bring to consciousness returns as fate," and that is exactly what happens to you. Life tries to show you something, but you do not listen. You run away, disguise it with distractions, addictions, empty relationships. You tell yourself it will pass, but it doesn't, does it? Because the pain does not want to be ignored, it wants to be understood. This video is not just another piece of cheap self-help content. I am not here to give you ready-made phrases or magic solutions. I am here to provoke you, to challenge you, to face what you hide even from yourself. Give me a few minutes of your time, just that, and I will reveal why you suffer so much and how this can end not with tricks but with awareness. Maybe you are at the bottom of the well right now. Maybe you are on the verge of a breakdown, smiling on the outside while screaming inside. Or maybe you learned to function with the pain as if it were part of you. Whatever the case, I have a hard truth to share. Suffering continues only because you have not had the courage to look at its root. Machiavelli dedicated his life to mapping this dark terrain, the terrain of the human soul. He knew only those who dive into their own darkness find true light. So, if you are willing to face this with me, I promise you one thing. By the end of this video, you will not be the same, because what you discover here can completely transform the way you understand yourself, your pain, and your freedom. Let's begin. You believe you suffer because of others, because of your boss, your partner, lack of money, social pressure, expectations the world places on you. And of course, all this weighs heavily. But what you still don't understand and need to grasp now is that true suffering, the kind that paralyzes, that hurts even in silence, arises when you disconnect from who you truly are. Machiavelli said the greatest tragedy of the soul is to live a life that is not yours. And that is exactly what you do. From an early age, you were taught to fit in, to be accepted, to follow standards, and little by little you drifted away from yourself. You became a character to please, a puppet to avoid disturbing. You silenced your desires, repressed your emotions, swallowed your anger, suffocated your sadness. Now you carry a pain, you can't even name a pain that doesn't scream but consumes you. This is the suffering of those living in disconnect, the suffering of someone who looks in the mirror and no longer recognizes themselves. You got used to the role given to you, but the soul feels it feels when living a liand. It begins to scream through anxiety, insomnia, apathy, guilt. Emotional pain is the soul's alarm signaling you betray yourself. Make no mistake, it is not failure that hurts. It is the false expectation you built about who you should be. It is not loneliness that wounds. It is the emptiness of no longer knowing who you are. When alone, it is not the other that hurts you, it is you every time you abandon yourself to maintain appearances. As long as this disconnect exists, suffering continues because you try to heal an external wound when the root is within you. But here is the central point. This pain is a warning, not a sentence. Machiavelli believed suffering is the first step of transformation. Pain exists to push you back home to your true self. This return begins when you stop running away and start listening to what has been buried, silenced, forgotten. In the next part, we discuss the most dangerous and at the same time most liberating force of the human psyche, the part you fear the most, but which holds the secret to your healing, that which Machiavelli called the shadow. If you truly want to stop suffering, you need to know it and face it. If this content makes sense to you, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. You want to stop suffering but keep fighting the symptoms, never the cause. Anxiety, guilt, anger, sadness. You treat these as enemies, as if they were flaws to eliminate. But what you don't know, perhaps refuse to accept, is that the true enemy is not outside you. It is within, silent, hidden, and that is where the danger lies. Machiavelli called this hidden side the shadow. Don't be fooled, everyone carries one, including you. The shadow is everything you have repressed, hidden, or denied within yourself. Your unacceptable desires, forbidden emotions, contained anger, silent sexuality, ambition disguised as humility, fears you pretend not to have. The shadow is formed by the parts you didn't want or couldn't be, but they remain there, living in the dark. The more you ignore it, the more it dominates you. Think of times you exploded for no reason, sabotaged an incredible opportunity, or ended a healthy relationship on an impulse you couldn't explain. That is the shadow at work. It infiltrates your thoughts, manipulates your emotions, shapes your decisions, all without your realization. Machiavelli said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Do you think suffering is bad luck, karma, injustice? Maybe it is just your shadow controlling you, and it will continue until you face it head on. The problem is, facing the shadow requires courage, because you must admit things you don't want to admit. You must look in the mirror and see what you always tried to hide. You must stop playing the victim and accept that a monster lives inside you, but that it is also human, also you. But here is the most important point. The shadow is not your enemy. It is the part of your soul exiled, and like any renegade part, it wants to be seen, heard, integrated. Machiavelli did not believe in getting rid of the shadow. He believed in embracing it, transforming it into strength, awareness, power. Because what you reject weakens you, and what you integrate sets you free. In the next part, you discover what to do with this shadow now that it stands before you. We discuss the path of courage, the beginning of true healing, and how to take the first step to reclaim your fragmented soul. Knowing the shadow is just the start. What you do with it changes everything. You have come this far, faced the truth of your disconnection, looked into your shadow's eyes. Now comes the decisive moment, confrontation. It is not enough to understand what lies behind your suffering. Understanding is the start, but healing demands action, courageous, raw, and often painful action, because now you must do what most never do, cross internal hell with eyes wide open. Machiavelli was clear. The journey to the self passes through a path few dare to follow. Courage is not absence of fear, but movement despite fear. Facing the unconscious means walking through dark territory where you control nothing. It means letting go of masks, dropping the victim role, accepting a part of you contributes to your own suffering. This demands brutal honesty. It requires you stop lying to yourself. But what does it mean in practice to face the unconscious? It means starting to listen to what your body screams, when your mind ignores it, the stomach pain, when with the wrong person, the tightness in your chest visiting when you accept yet another diminishing situation. The inexplicable fatigue appearing every time you force a fake smile. All this is the unconscious trying to save, not destroy, you. Start with small steps, write down dreams, observe emotional triggers, reflect on patterns repeated for years. Every time something throws you off balance, a hidden message exists. The unconscious speaks in symbols. Your task is to decipher, not hurriedly, not with judgment, but with presence and willingness to truly listen to yourself, not to comfort, but to confront. One powerful way is deep writing. Sit daily and write as if confessing darkest secrets to yourself. Write what you feel ashamed to feel, what you fear admitting, what you never dared say aloud. Because when words escape silence's prison, they lose power to destroy you. Another indispensable tool is the therapeutic mirror, whether with a psychologist or someone qualified to help interpret your mind's signals. Machiavelli said the unconscious is not a garbage dump, but living intelligence. It wants to show you something, to heal you, but demands listening without filters, defenses, or excuses. Do you want to stop suffering? Then stop running, because as long as you flee, suffering chases you. But when you stop and face it, it begins to change, to transform. Then you discover something no one told you. The pain you fear is in fact a portal, that is exactly what we explore next. What is pain's true role in your life? Why does it insist on appearing even when everything seems controlled? And most importantly, how can it become your most powerful ally on the path to liberation? Ready to find out? Then continue with me. Most people spend lives trying to eliminate pain, taking medication, drowning in distractions, diving into shallow relationships, seeking instant pleasure, accumulating achievements, and happy posts all to avoid feeling. But here is a truth no one wants to hear. As long as you try to get rid of pain, it chases you. Pain is not here to be eliminated, it is here to be heard. Machiavelli saw suffering not as life's mistake, but as a call to transformation. Pain signals something broken inside, needing care and realignment. It is the soul's cry. This can't go on. Every pain carries a message. Every anguish is code waiting to be decoded. You must stop treating pain as enemy and start seeing it as guide. Think of times life forced change. How many happened in comfort? Probably none. In chaos, the soul reorganizes. In pain, psyche begs reconstruction, and that is where true transformation begins. Machiavelli said suffering must be experienced fully, only then overcome. Pain must be traversed, not avoided. Imagine someone spending life negating self to please others, always available, smiling, saying yes. Gradually, anxiety, extreme fatigue, unexplained sadness appear. Doctor visits, tests, anxiolytics follow, but nothing resolves because the body speaks what the mind refuses to accept. Denying one's truth hurts and will keep hurting until lies stop. Another example. Someone repeating same relationship pattern, always involved with emotionally unavailable people, always feeling rejected, always ending feeling not enough. This pain is not bad luck. It is a mirror, life showing repeatedly an old wound, perhaps childhood, that needs healing. Until touched, suffering serves as reminder. When pain becomes symbolic language, everything changes. What seemed punishment becomes compass. Pain points way, and paradoxically, suffering, when listened to attentively, becomes healing's strongest force, forcing you to stop, look, and change. This brings responsibility. Ignoring pain means ignoring self. Running from pain means abandoning self. But courage to listen with humility, presence, and curiosity leads to a place you may not imagine, a place of peace, not because world is perfect, but because you are whole. Next, we discuss this place, the other side of pain. What happens when you stop resisting and start integrating what you rejected? True healing is not absence of pain, but transformation of pain into awareness, and that awaits you next. There comes a moment after much internal confrontation when something changes, not suddenly, not with fireworks or dramatic revelations, but subtly and profoundly, like a breeze you barely notice. Yet it transforms your soul's entire climate. It is the moment you stop resisting and, perhaps for the first time in life, begin to feel whole. But what does it mean to become whole? It means embracing everything you are, including what you most detest about yourself. It means stopping the war with emotions, stopping the attempt to be perfect, stopping wearing masks. It is when you understand your anger, fear, sadness, shame, all the pieces you spent life hiding, legitimate parts of your existence. When integrated rather than rejected, something miraculous happens. Suffering dissolves. Machiavelli called this individuation, not becoming special or different, but becoming yourself without distortions, a complete human being, real and authentic. This authenticity arises not from pride but acceptance. It is not about finding yourself but discovering yourself. Only those courageous enough to enter their soul's ruins and rebuild what broke can truly find themselves. At this stage, you realize hiding pain no longer serves, because it does not define you. It was the path, not the destination. You look back and see every crisis, fall, emotional collapse had purpose. to strip lies, force abandonment of control illusions, compel shedding falsehoods so you could clothe in truth. This truth is uncomfortable. It does not spare vulnerability. It demands presence and choices. Now, knowing your shadow, pain's role, and power of authenticity, autopilot living ends. You begin seeing clearly who uplifts or drains you. You stop accepting what once prevented conflict. You say no without guilt. You say yes to yourself. This internal change is silent but overwhelming. It is not being a new person. It is stopping betrayal of who you always were. Here you discover something no one taught. Healing is not required to be worthy of love. You simply need self-acceptance. You stop living in scarcity because peace sought outside waits within. But beware, many settle here. Pain fades, patterns shift, life flows, temptation to stop arises. Yet one more step remains, a step Machiavelli deemed essential. Individual healing is incomplete until it becomes contribution. What do you do with your light after crossing darkness? How do you live now awake? This we explore in final part. Conscious choice to live differently, not just survive, but exist with purpose, awareness, responsibility. Now reborn, life demands more. You can no longer pretend ignorance. You heard every word, felt every truth pierce deep like a blade, and yet you stayed. That places you among few. Most run when truth hurts. Most choose sleep. You stayed, and because of that, now choice lies before you. Repeat old patterns dragging you down, or take control of existence. It doesn't matter how much you suffered or what was done to you. What matters now is what you do with it. Pain carried for years can become strength. Emptiness filled with everything and everyone can become fertile silence. Traumas marking you don't have to imprison. They can start your greatest liberation. Understand something crucial. Awareness awakened here comes with price. Once seen, can't unsee. Ignorance loses comfort. You are called to live at another level. Living there demands responsibility to stop betraying self, accept nothing less than deserved, avoid excuses or old fears. You don't need to be 100% ready, no one is. You need to decide daily to live consciously, to face self with firmness, compassion, truth, and most importantly, to act. Knowledge without action is self-deception. Machiavelli said individuation, the process of becoming wholeness, a lifelong journey. Today may be your first real step. Perhaps for first time you understand you are not broken, but a work in progress. Suffering is not punishment, but a Kalinga cry from your soul to come home. Now tell me, what part of this video hit you hardest? What truth shook you inside? Comment below. Write as commitment to yourself. When you verbalize, you anchor. Who knows, your experience might help someone else right now. If this video touched, confronted, awakened you, don't stop here. Next video is just as important. It continues what we started. I'll see you there.